Well, that's a huge improvement. Yeah. There's a little bit of straw in here. We've been putting some chicken manure, and I didn't get it tilled in early. Usually I like to till it in early in the spring and it'll rot better, but oh, it's way better. Most of those weeds got chopped up real good. There's a few floating around, but this area is going to be winter squash. A lot of good moisture in the soil. Pretty dusty on top though. I ate a lot of dust tilling this up. So yeah, this whole area here is going to be winter squash, and I'm going to head over to the tater patch. I grew potatoes over on the east side of the garden, this upper garden last year, and it turned out really good, hardly any scabs. And I hate to plant them in the same spot twice, but I'm going to go ahead and do that because some of these other areas I have, we get really scabby spuds. But anyway, I think, yeah, the sun's kind of getting behind the trees now, so it's cooled down a lot out here, and I want to get this tilling done tonight so I can get planting. Yeah, well, it's really coming together. That was pretty bad shape. I went ahead and made a couple stripes through between the trees there because we like to plant winter squash near the trees. That's a trick I learned from my good friend Pine Puppy. I'll send you a link to his YouTube channel. He does a lot of gardening and farming, but we can plant winter squash around the trees, and the vines will fill in all around the trees and keep the weeds down. So Pine Puppy, if you're listening, I'm taking your advice again this year. It worked out real good last year. One thing we're going to do differently because we want to go on some camping trips and do some fishing, is we're going to plant a lot of winter squash because it's good nutrition. They keep real well around here, and they seem to grow pretty good. Some of the varieties we like are Blue Hubbards, and boy, that crow's going crazy. Blue Hubbard squash, and my favorite is Buttercup. But I know Sarah will be in here planting all kinds of different things, and as long as there's lots of vines and we don't have to weed it this summer, we'll be happy. This potato patch turned out awesome. Sometimes I just like to take a nice little break, sit here on the bridge and watch the creek go by. There's always a nice cool breeze that flows down the creek, so if you sit on the bridge, it's pretty comfortable. Our big gardens might be running late this year, but this little raised bed garden has been putting out a lot of vegetables for us since about April 1st. This is Sarah's strawberry patch, and she planted onions in here too, which we'll probably finish eating. Some of them might be left in there to go to seed. And then in this little raised bed over here, she planted these beautiful kale plants. Well, she grew them from seed. She started them in the laundry room late winter, and we've already been eating some of that kale. It's just delicious. I'll be darned, it looks like she's got snap peas growing up in a little support there. This might be a nice little salad garden. Yeah. Snap peas. She didn't tell me about that. Inside the tunnel, we planted 4 early girl tomato plants on this side, and then a great big row of cilantro. It smells really good in here. And we're still eating spinach. That in the back is spinach, and some will be left for seed. Most of it will be torn out to make room for the tomato plants as they get bigger. But the soil is real fertile in here. We've been adding compost to it, and of course it's nice and warm in here even at night. So let's see, those little tomato plants are just tiny right now, but oh, those things will get huge. Last year we had a bumper crop of tomatoes, and we canned, I don't know how many batches. We must have had close to 4 dozen pints of canned tomatoes. And the whole back of this garden is dedicated to asparagus. We've been hit with some frost, but we've gotten a few meals out of here this year. It's just delicious. We bring it in and we might fry up some venison steak and saute some fresh asparagus spears in the spring. It's just really delicious stuff. Well, I've got to get busy. It's evening time, and I've been sloughing off a little bit. I had to wrestle with a pretty good wrestling match with that tiller, trying to get it attached to the mower. So about lunchtime I took a little break. I want to get down to the lower garden because we want to get our potatoes in tomorrow, and I got to get all this soil ready to go. And yeah, this is also the raspberry patch. Sarah's really been tending to them this year. She's got them all tied up, and hopefully we'll get enough raspberries to put away some nice jars of jelly this this summer. Anyway, let's head down to the lower garden. I gotta break ground down there so we can get this show on the road. Well, I went over it one time. It took about a half an hour to go over it one time, and it's looking pretty darn good. This King Cutter rototiller always impresses me, and I do realize not everybody has a big machine like that to get their garden in. My first tiller was a Troy built, and it was all in parts. It had blown up, but the guy had ordered parts for it and never got around to it. So he sold me all the parts and the rototiller and all the pieces, everything I needed. All I had to do was buy some gasket sealant, and that was 150 bucks. And I still have that tiller. It has a few problems now, but it's still a good tiller, and it's many years old. It's probably 40, 50 years old. Anyway, those are great tillers. But in the hometown where I grew up, there was a retired guy that bought a Kubota, and he had a tiller like this on the back, and he would go and make house calls in the spring. And I think he only charged people like 35 bucks. This is probably a lot more now, but you can grow a lot of food in a small plot. This is looking pretty good, but I'm going to go over it again. I might go over it 3 times, but it's looking pretty good right now. Yeah, this baby's gonna need a little cleanup. It was a dusty mess. But this garden soil is looking really nice. Really nice. It could use a little bit of organic. I'm definitely gonna try to follow up on getting some manure in here next year. Maybe try to get about 20 yards of manure. But this is pretty close to being ready to plant. Well, the second time didn't take too long, which is a good thing, because it's about 7:30 and I'm getting hungry for some supper. We'll probably plant that upper garden first, get the potatoes in, get the winter squash planted. The soil's plenty warm right now, so it should germinate pretty fast. And then maybe come down and hit this with the tiller one more time. So I'm going to leave the tiller attached. But I'm really getting excited. We're going to grow some food. Hopefully we'll get enough food to last us through winter. Maybe a little longer than that. But anyway, thanks for joining me. I look forward to the next episode. When we're up there planting potatoes, I'll bring the camera with me, and we'll get some squash planted up there too. So So we'll see you on the next episode in the upper garden. Until then, I hope you're all doing fine. I send out my best wishes. See you next time. This is West Fork, over and out.